This is Woody, and this is Woody's Roadmap to Success. Yes. Oh, well, thank you for the kisses, buddy. He is a great dog. I really had a lot of fun working with him today. He's very chill, but when he has separation anxiety, he gets anxious. So that's why the video above talks about all sorts of tips and tricks that you can use if you have a dog that has separation anxiety. I like to attack the problem in multiple angles. I mentioned this with the Guardian off camera. So a lot of people, when they have separation anxiety, they get upset with their dog when it has urination in the house, which is one of the things that Woody does. You have to remember, separation anxiety is essentially a panic attack. It's the dog just freaking out, and it's not peeing in your house intentionally. It's literally losing control of its bowels. If you have a friend who is so scared about a spider or something, they peed their pants, you would probably not make fun of them, and this is a really good friend that you would devour them. But if you wouldn't want to make your friend feel bad about it, because they're not doing it intentionally. They're doing it because they don't feel good about themselves. And so for dogs with separation anxiety that have that chew or howl or bark, people get very angry because the neighbor gets upset. They're crying, literally crying for help. And so what we did in this session is I want to attack the problem on multiple angles. Now the video above has tricks and tips on how to stop your dog, how to teach your dog to stay, help it practice being alone. I talk about a video that I have a bunch of them on doggonproblems.com about kennel training videos to teach the dog to be relaxed in the kennel. But also we were going to attack the problem at other angles. Like Woody has, since he humps his guardian's leg. So I showed her how to address that. She had a tendency to demur away from him, which is more of a follower's mindset. I want her to turn towards him and walk towards him, and as soon as she did that, he immediately got down. But that comes from the perception that he thinks that he's in charge of the human. He needs to let her know that he's in charge of her, or that everybody else knows that she is his property. So we want to flip the leader-follower dynamic, and a great way to do that is by what I call petting with a purpose and for passive training. Petting with a purpose is redirecting the dog into a sit or a down or something, some other position, anytime it tries to initiate contact and tell me to pet them. What I do is if he jumps up at me, I tell him to sit, and when he sits, I pet him on his chin, I say the word sit and just the word sit. Try not to use good sit or other adjectives. And so what I'm saying is when you tell me what to do, nothing happens. When I tell you what to do and you do it, you get rewarded. Now the dog is motivated to listen to you. Now we also want to reward desired behaviors, and I do that through what I call passive training. So every time Woody, one of the things the Guardian mentions, Woody doesn't come to her very well, especially when she's getting ready to leave for work. And I think that's related to separation anxiety. He has realized if I don't come to her and I go hide under the bed, I might be able to prevent her from leaving. That's his strategy, at least. Doesn't work, but that's all he knows what to do. So what we want to do is reward desired behavior. So every time Woody comes to the Guardian on his own without any influence from us whatsoever, we want to reach over and pet him and say the word come. Every time he goes in his kennel, we're going to say Troy. Every time he sits, we're going to pet him and say sit. Every time he lays down, we're saying crash or chill or whatever the word is. He brings you a toy, name each toy. So now we're building a vocabulary, and we're rewarding him for things that we like him doing. And now if I asked Woody, what can you do to make your Guardian happy? He's like, she likes when I sit, when I lay down, when I eat my food, when I roll over, when I play dead, when I bring her the Wookiee, and all the rest of these things, because now those are the things that get the human's attention. Not only that, but we instill and enlist a sense of pride and self-esteem because he is earning these things as opposed to being given them willy-nilly. I would love to win a $400 million lottery. But I would probably feel a lot better about myself if I was successful in business and I built my company into a $400 million business. That'll be coming someday. But basically for dogs with separation anxiety, it's lower self-esteem. So by helping him see and earn his affection, he starts feeling better about it. The other thing we can do, another way or angle that we're going to attack this with, is by building up his self-esteem, by building up his confidence. And we can do that by simply teaching him new tricks and commands. I showed the Guardian how to teach him patrol, which is basically just a dog that walk around you. Hold a treat, lead the dog here, he gets to this point, trade off for this hand, and then lead him over here, then put him in a sit. So eventually it's super easy to do, and then if he's trying to hide in the bed, you say patrol, he comes, oh, we're playing a game, he comes and runs around you, and then he gets a trick or attention. And the more that we do these different skills, just like us, when I pass the bar, I feel better about myself. When I graduate college, I feel better about myself. When I learn a new skill, I feel better about myself. So I want the Guardian to spend the next 8 weeks, and a lot of my clients after 8 weeks continue doing it. That's even better. But if once a week she picks a new trick or command and teaches him that trick on Sunday, and then all week long practices that trick, by the end of the week he's got it down cold. The next week we go to another trick. And after 8 weeks, now with the commands he has, he's probably going to know about close to 15 tricks. Not only does that boost his self-esteem and his confidence, but it gives us easy ways to redirect his attention. He wants to run away. No, come over here. Bang, you're dead. Bounce the tree. Stick him up. Namaste. Or a whole bunch of different commands. And now he's forgotten completely that you're leaving. Now, the tricks that I went over in the video above, desensitizing him from picking up your keys and all the rest of that is going to help as well. Let me see, what else? Feeding the guardian, enforcing rules consistently is another great way to reinforce the leader-follower dynamic. Unlike most of my clients, this guardian did have some rules in place. He's really not allowed on the furniture without an invitation. Same thing with the bed. He leaves her alone when she's eating because she's trained him not to do that. He doesn't go in the kitchen when she's in there. So there are a lot of good things. One of the things I would have her do is have him sit before we go in or out the door. Every time you cross a street on the walk, make him sit. Practice leashing him up 3 times for every 1 time you take him out because he was so excited for the leashing process. And anything else he gets overexcited for, do it out of context, like we did with the keys. Keep practicing tossing the treats in the kennel, and every once in a while put a handful of treats in the kennel and close the door with him on the outside. Get some bully sticks and some marrow bones. Marrow bones are preferable for the kennel because you can drill through the marrow while it's frozen, get a zip tie, make sure it's low, and zip it in the corner of the kennel. So he's got to get his whole body in the kennel to lick that marrow. And now I can't take the marrow bone out of here. So I'm practicing being in the kennel for longer periods of time. Same thing with bully sticks or putting the treats in there, closing the door out. We want him to go up there pawing at the kennel. Let me in here, darn it! So again, now we're creating a desire to want to go in there, and tossing the treats the way I was doing was helping him practice going in the kennel and then leaving the kennel. And if you do that enough and leave treats in there, after a while he'll start hanging out in the kennel. And that's, again, practice being calm in the kennel. Now the door's open and the guardian's right here. So it's not the same as when we leave, but that's how we want to practice. We want to practice in the easiest capacity first, and then gradually work our way up to more and more challenging situations. Once eventually, and like I said, let me know if you want to go over some training videos. But the guardian is going to take him to daycare for about 2 weeks. Now when you're doing the daycare for 2 weeks, you really have to practice the heck out of the stay. Try to set a goal for practicing the stay like 7 times a day. And do it different parts of your house, different times of the day. And each time progressively a little bit longer and longer until you get to the point where you can stay for the 5 minutes. Then you can start moving away and eventually being out of his sight for longer and longer periods of time. So if you can, if you're going to do the 2 week mark, what I would do is try to set your goal by the end of the first week that he can stay for 5 minutes. Second week, you want to get to by the middle of the week, within a couple days, where you can step outside of his line of sight for just 1 second, and then eventually by the end of the when you get to the end of the second week, he should be able to stay while you're in the other room for at least 5 minutes. Now again, the more you practice, the faster you get there. Then by taking him to daycare, we take away all the negative baggage with the kennel, and we're practicing having him go in the kennel at the same time. Then maybe the third week, what we do is we have him go to doggy daycare for a half day. And then I've heard that we have the best dog trainer in dog walker in Los Angeles that hooks up Woody with some amazing walks. Maybe if we could sweet talk that gentleman into going and picking Woody up and bringing him home, feeding him, and by that point Woody is tired now. He's been at daycare for 4 hours. Well, dogs sleep 17 hours a day, most people don't realize. So now he's only got, out of the next 24 hours, or he's got 3 more hours of awake time. He needs to recharge his battery. So putting him in the kennel, and again, doing all the other things we've done, he's going to be much more relaxed to go in the kennel because of the positive reinforcement we've used, and we depleted his excess energy. We put the dog in a position to succeed. Let me see. I'm trying to think. Is there anything you can think of that I can't think of? I think I pretty much covered everything.
Well, how do I know, is there a point at which I can stop using the kennel?
Okay, so what I do, is he kenneled at night? Or he sleeps next to you at night?
No, he sleeps in his bed, like in my room.
So in the video, at the end of, it's a little bit longer video than I normally do, but it's a lot of good tips. But eventually what I'd like you to do is start going and practicing being outside in this little courtyard area or sitting on the steps for progressively longer and longer periods of time until he's not hanging out, camping out right here.
Okay.
If you see him going in his kennel or going up on the bed now, or the couch is not allowed, but that just shows me his calm. Also, other things that indicate a dog is calm and balanced is it's licking itself in terms of grooming, it's scratching itself, it's playing with toys, it's not fixated on the guardian being gone. So what I would do is we have some amazing mutual friends, and they bought the guardian here a security camera. I would set it up probably up there on top of that deal, or somewhere where you can see the whole room. And then what I would do is start practicing leaving for progressively longer and longer periods of time. At first, just walk outside, take your keys, lock the door, Close the screen door, wait, and then as soon as it's closed, count to 1, and then come back inside and put your keys down and don't say a word. And then next time, leave for maybe 2 seconds. And do this at times where it's such as a commercial break, or you just have a quick minute or two. So he has practice with you leaving and you coming back right away. And when you come back again, don't make any big deal out of it. Just come in like he's like no big deal. And that if you do it very progressively, then he sees like, well, she leaves, but she always comes back. She leaves, she comes back. And at that point, you can, and if you have a security camera, you can sit outside and eventually leave and close the door and sit outside and watch. And take note of how long it takes. Maybe he's good for 10 minutes and he starts getting whimpery. Okay, then we need to go back practicing at 9 minutes and a half. And practice that over and over, and then we eventually go to 10 minutes. Every dog is unique and different, but by attacking these problems at all these different angles, you should make much faster progress. Now, if I don't hear from you, I assume everything's going great. So if you have any questions, please call me or text me. I want you to text me. It is very normal to need to make little adjustments, and I'm there for all my clients. But if I don't hear from you, I assume everything's going great. But it doesn't sound like he has a supremely bad case of separation anxiety. I've seen dogs breaking teeth off their kennels and really hurting themselves. So losing control of his bowels is not an ideal situation, but as mellow as he is, I think if you follow the steps that we've outlined in this session, that you should be within about a month or so, help a considerable improvement, and to the point where then you can start practicing leaving for longer periods of time and watching him. But you watch from right outside. If you do this and then go to dinner, that'll be the day that he decides to do something wrong. So if he does something wrong, you can immediately come back inside, and you can also hear what your neighbors are hearing. Is he howling? No. So he's a pretty chill dog, so I'm pretty sure that it's not going to take you that long. But like I said, let me know if you want a video with the kennel exercise or anything else. I can share those with you. All right, well, this good-looking guy over here is Woody, and this is Woody's roadmap to success. He's pretty chill. Remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.